Good afternoon. You're watching A News. I'm Dilek Tuna. Here are the headlines. Europe stresses the need to protect Ukrainian interests ahead of the Trump-Putin talks in Alaska. Tel Aviv demonstrators urge a hostage release and warn against the Gaza escalation. Azerbaijan and Armenia foreign ministers initial the draft peace agreement in Washington. European leaders have welcomed US efforts to end the war in Ukraine, but insist that peace talks must protect Ukraine's sovereignty and involve Kyiv directly. The reaction comes ahead of a planned Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska.
European leaders have given a united response to US President Donald Trump's planned meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15th. They welcomed efforts to end the war, but said any peace deal must protect Ukraine's and Europe's security and include Kyiv. In a joint statement, leaders from Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Finland and the European Commission said talks should begin from the current front line, happen only under a ceasefire or reduced hostilities, and respect the principle that borders cannot be changed by force. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky backed the European position after a meeting of security advisers in Britain. His chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, reiterated that Ukraine rejects territorial concessions and that the front line is not a border. Earlier, Trump has suggested the talks could involve territorial swaps, an idea viewed with caution in both Kyiv and European capitals. The Alaska meeting is expected to be bilateral at Putin's request, though Trump says he is open to including Zelensky.
In Ukraine's Bucha region, the place once synonymous with horror and loss, an unexpected force has risen. Witches of Bucha, a volunteer all-female unit grounded in tragedy but powered by resilience, emerged from the ashes of occupation and now face waves of Russian drones.
It
was autumn when I arrived. I saw the TV announcement about the training. At first, I had no idea how to start or what to do, but the instructors taught us everything from weapon handling to shooting. I joined because I couldn't just sit idly by, waiting for someone else to step in. While our men fight on the front line for independence, we women defend our homes and protect our children. I have 2 adult sons, and as a rehabilitation specialist with a psychology degree, I'm committed to doing everything for my family.
In Bucha, the horrors of Russia's invasion have forged an unlikely line of defense. By day, they're therapists, athletes, mothers. By night, they take up rifles to shoot down drones out of the sky. Ukraine's so-called witches of Bucha are on a mission to protect their city. A nationwide battle against more than 6,000 Russian drones launched just in the last month.
Our voluntary military unit now includes 100 Ukrainian civilians. Their main task is maintaining security in the Bucha territorial community. We conduct joint patrols with the police and collaborate with other Ukrainian armed forces units. Our goal is to prepare civilians for today's and tomorrow's challenges. Our instructors are experienced veterans, retired from active duty but passionate about contributing to national defense. We employ the same tactics used by the Ukrainian armed forces.
Every war is different. Drawing on our experiences from earlier conflicts, we veterans are now learning new fighting techniques. The war has changed drastically compared to 5 or 10 years ago. Today's fighters combine Ukrainian, American and European tactics and use European weapons. I'm a veteran myself, injured and demobilized from the armed forces of Ukraine, and now serve as an instructor. Before, I was the unit staff commander. Now I teach civilians how to survive quickly, not to kill.
Our team calls me Santa because I live near the residence of Santa Claus. We even have many Christmas stories connected to that. I adopted the name to symbolize my role in protecting our country. My 2 children anchored my decision. I had to act. This isn't civilian life, it's military service, and I had to switch immediately. As a mother and a wife, I'll do everything to protect my family, my neighbors, our relatives, and the families of those who went to defend us.
Thousands have taken to the streets in Tel Aviv, demanding the safe return of hostages from Gaza and voicing anger over Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to seize full control of Gaza City. The decision has triggered strong condemnation from across the Arab and Islamic world and renewed warnings of an escalating humanitarian catastrophe.
Israeli protesters flooded the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday night, marching from Hostages Square to the military headquarters. The demonstrators demanded the immediate return of the 50 hostages still held in Gaza, with Israeli officials believing only 20 remain alive. The protest came hours after hostage families warned Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu they would pursue him if harm comes to the captives, following the Security Cabinet's approval of expanded military operations in Gaza. That decision, including a plan to seize full control of Gaza City, has sparked sharp criticism both at home and abroad. In a joint statement, the Ministerial Committee, mandated by the Joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit on Gaza, along with 23 countries, the Arab League, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, condemned the plan as a dangerous and unacceptable escalation and a flagrant violation of international law. The group warned it would deepen the humanitarian crisis, derail peace efforts, and amount to crimes against humanity. Among the signatories were Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, and Indonesia. They called for an immediate end to Israeli military actions in Gaza and demanded full, unconditional access for humanitarian aid. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called the planned takeover a new crime that must be stopped. Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan accused Israel of deliberately pushing Palestinians toward famine to force them from their land, while his Egyptian counterpart Badr Abdelati urged regional unity and increased pressure to halt the plan. Netanyahu's office insists the military will distribute humanitarian aid outside combat zones even as the takeover of Gaza City proceeds. But with tensions rising, both on the streets and in diplomatic halls, the conflict shows no signs of easing.
From Shanghai, a key hub of global trade and diplomacy, China is strengthening its role in the Middle Corridor and preparing to host the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Our Anastasia Lavrina has more.
Hello from Shanghai, one of China's most strategic cities, a global economic hub and a crossroads of international diplomacy. Today, it's once again at the center of major geopolitical developments. China is moving to integrate more deeply into the Middle Corridor, the vital trade route connecting East Asia to Europe through Central Asia and the South Caucasus. In a significant step, China Railway Container Transport Corporation Ltd has joined Middle Corridor Multimodal Ltd, the joint railway venture of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan and Georgia. This partnership strengthens both infrastructure and political will to make Eurasia's transport links faster, safer and more competitive. Shanghai's role in regional diplomacy has deep roots. In June 2001, leaders of China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan gathered here to transform the Shanghai Five into the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Since then, the SCO has become a powerful platform for political dialogue, economic cooperation and collective security. These August, leaders from across Asia, the Middle East and Eurasia will meet for the SCO summit to address pressing challenges from security and transport connectivity to digital governance and regional integration. One country that is gaining greater visibility in this process is Azerbaijan. In April 2025, President Ilham Aliyev paid a state visit to China at the invitation of President Xi Jinping. The two leaders signed a joint statement on the establishment of a comprehensive strategic partnership and landmark in bilateral relations. But the visit also highlighted Azerbaijan's rising role in multilateral formats, especially the SCO. Although not a full member, Azerbaijan holds dialogue partner status, and both Baku and Beijing have signaled support for deeper engagement, from counterterrorism coordination to new transport corridors and cooperation on non-traditional security threats. The upcoming summit may well open the door to more active involvement for dialogue partners like Azerbaijan, paving the path for new projects, new partnerships and a stronger role in shaping the region's future. Anastasia Lavrina, especially for A News, here in Shanghai, China.
At least 11 people have been killed and 45 injured in a collision between a bus and a truck in Brazil's central western state of Mato Grosso. Authorities say the crash happened late Friday near the city of Lucas do Rio Verde, when the bus collided head-on with a truck. The federal police report that 11 of the injured are in critical condition. The cause is under investigation. Azerbaijan, Armenia and the United States have signed a historic joint declaration in Washington, marking major progress toward peace in the South Caucasus and opening a new stage in US-Azerbaijan relations. Here are the main points of the talks.
US President Donald Trump has hosted high-level peace talks with the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia at the White House in what is being hailed as a breakthrough for the South Caucasus.
35 years of death and hatred, and now it's going to be love and respect and success together.
The discussions included both separate and trilateral meetings, culminating in the signing of a joint declaration under the framework of the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity Summit. As part of the agreements, the United States and Azerbaijan signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a strategic working group tasked with preparing a strategic partnership charter. In a major step for bilateral ties, President Trump signed an order suspending Section 907 of the Freedom Support Act, lifting long-standing US restrictions on aid to Azerbaijan imposed in 1992 during Armenia's occupation of Azerbaijani territories. On the Armenia-Azerbaijan peace agenda, the parties submitted a joint appeal to the OSCE to dissolve the Minsk group and agreed on constitutional changes in Armenia to remove territorial claims against Azerbaijan. Another key element of the deal is the creation of a special transit corridor, which will allow Azerbaijan full unhindered access to its Nakhchivan region. The US and Armenia agreed to launch the Zangezur corridor with President Trump as its guarantor, a goal Azerbaijan successfully secured. In his remarks, President Trump praised both leaders for their commitment to stop all fighting forever, open trade and travel, normalize diplomatic relations, and respect each other's territorial integrity.
Today, historic day, also because we bring peace. President Trump brings peace to Caucasus, and we're grateful for that. And I'm sure that Armenia and Azerbaijan will find courage and responsibility to reconcile, and also the people will reconcile. We will turn the page of standoff, confrontation, and bloodshed, and provide bright and safe future for our children. So I'm very happy because today we're writing the great new history. And once again, Mr. President, thank you for all what you are doing for us, for our region, and for the whole world.
President Aliyev's message was echoed by Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, who emphasized the broader global significance of the agreement.
This is a great deal we've achieved today. This is a success for our countries and for our region, and a success for the world, because a more peaceful region means a safer world. This is peace through strength in a nutshell. Mr. President, today's great achievement is yet another testimony to your global leadership and your legacy as a statesman and a peacemaker on the world stage. Bringing peace required vision, political courage, and determination.
The agreement signed at the White House mark a significant shift in regional relations, with leaders expressing hope that this new chapter will replace decades of conflict with lasting cooperation, stability and prosperity for the South Caucasus.
After the historic summit, in response to our Ubay Shabanda, President Ilham Aliyev condemned Western media, naming the Washington Post, New York Times, Newsweek and others as tools of fake news, while emphasizing Azerbaijan's genuine multicultural identity and commitment to religious and ethnic harmony.
Mr. President, your arrival here in Washington, signing this peace deal meeting with President Trump, has introduced you and Azerbaijan for millions of Americans who, for the first time, are being introduced to you in Azerbaijan. They perhaps don't know where Azerbaijan is or have certain misconceptions. Yeah. How would you respond to some of the concerns among some in the American media and in the think tanks, concerns about will Christians be protected in Karabakh? Yeah. And just how important is this Zangezur corridor, not only for Azerbaijan, but for American trade interests as well, given that the Trump trade route is going to be established?
Yeah, you know, for many years Azerbaijan was demonized in the United States media, which President Trump fairly names fake news. And these media outlets like Washington Post, New York Times, Newsweek, and many others, on a regular basis were spreading rumors about Azerbaijan, were attacking us, publishing insulting articles, and actually misleading American public opinion. That was mainly done by representatives of Armenian lobby, the group which today acts against Armenian interests. And today, instead of being happy of what happens today, they are absolutely disappointed, because their agenda is absolutely different. They were those who are responsible for occupation, because their ideas, their advices, their money, and their influence on different Armenian governments played a destructive role for Armenia itself. If not for them and groups like them, Armenia would have been much more developed country with a solid independent system, but they just lost time. They lost time occupying our lands, and in the end, they could not keep this occupation forever and actually lost 30 years in their development. And all those rumors and false information about Azerbaijan, for those who know our country, seem absolutely biased, because Azerbaijan is one of the countries which is famous for its ethnic and religious diversity. All the religious sites are protected by the state. In Azerbaijan, we never had any, not conflict, even misunderstanding on the basis of ethnic or religious differences. On the contrary, Azerbaijan today is one of the centers of multiculturalism, where representatives of different religious and ethnic groups live as one family. I think what happened today will be also a good answer to those who still either do not know the reality or deliberately try to create wrong perceptions.
As part of the US-hosted talks between Azerbaijan and Armenia in Washington, Azerbaijan's Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov and Armenia's Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan initialed the draft agreement on the establishment of peace and interstate relations between the Republic of Azerbaijan and the Republic of Armenia. The two foreign ministers also signed a joint appeal to the OSCE chairperson in office regarding the termination of the OSCE Minsk process. The personal representative of the OSCE chairperson in office on the conflict dealt with by the OSCE Minsk conference and the high-level planning group. The joint peace declaration signed between Azerbaijan and Armenia has been welcomed by regional leaders as a milestone for stability and cooperation. President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, praised Aliyev's leadership and reiterated commitment to stability in the South Caucasus. Uzbekistan's President Shavkat Mirziyoyev congratulated President Ilham Aliyev, highlighting the agreement's positive impact on regional development. Kazakhstan's head of state, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, called it a historically significant achievement. Georgia's Prime Minister, Irakli Kopakidze, welcomed the declaration as a milestone for the region and the world, reaffirming support for peace. Kazakhstan and China have agreed to build a logistics hub in Korgos and an industrial park for deep agricultural processing in the border area, following talks between Kazakh Foreign Minister Murat Nurtleo and Chinese corporations China Minmetals and CITC Construction Co. Limited. The talks focused on advancing joint investment projects in priority sectors, including logistics, industry and agricultural processing. The projects aim to strengthen trade, boost investment in the Shetsu region and create new jobs, enhancing the region's role on the Asia-Europe trade route. Turkey expects its GDP to reach $1.4 trillion by the end of 2025. According to Trade Minister Ömer Bolat, record achievements in exports and the services sector are further strengthening the country's economic power. The government is working to maintain its growth momentum despite global challenges.
Turkey's gross domestic product is projected to reach $1.4 trillion by the end of 2025. The announcement was made at an event organised by the Foreign Economic Relations Board in Istanbul. In 2024, the country's economy reached $1.32 trillion. Bolat said that in the past 22 years, Turkey's economy grew by an average of 5.3% each year. He added that it is now among the fastest growing economies in the world over the last decade.
Dünyanın dört bir köşesine sadece mallarımızı değil, hizmetlerimizi de ihraç.
We export not only our goods, but also our services to every corner of the world. In construction, TV series, healthcare services, education, tourism, culture, consultancy, and trade fairs, we achieved exports worth $115 billion by the end of last year. This represents an 8.2-fold increase. Our target this year is $121 billion, and thankfully, we are on the right track.
62 milyon turist, 61 milyon turizm geliriyle dünyada dördüncü, 100 milyar dolarlık lojistik sektörümüzle.
In 2024, Turkey's economy grew by 3.2%. In early 2025, growth slowed to 2%. The government expected a 4% growth, but this might not happen due to global issues. Last year, Turkey exported goods worth $262 billion. In the first 7 months of 2025, exports grew by 5.2% to $156.4 billion. This added $7.6 billion to the economy. The biggest exports were cars, clothes, chemicals, energy and farm products. In July, monthly exports went over $25 billion for the first time. In the past year, total exports reached $269.4 billion, a record for Turkey. Bolat said this success is because of better quality, stronger competitiveness, and the introduction of new technologies in key industries.
These are the updates from Baku for now. Stay tuned to A News for more updates and enjoy your afternoon.